To find a way of explaining what happened in a place like this, or a way of telling a child that the people he thinks are his parents may have been part of a conspiracy to murder the people who really were his parents.
Qué pregunta, eh?
What a question.
Danielle Piotti is one of the judges who handles the cases of the children of the disappeared.
Yo creo que no se puede generalizar.
This is a situation which has no precedent. From what I've been able to find out, there has never been a situation like this anywhere else in the world.
Judge Piotti must not only rule on who keeps the child, but must also tell the child the brutal truth.
It is, without doubt, a most difficult task. There are those who believe it is best to spare the child the truth because of the shock. But taking into account what happened in Argentina, we don't even know how big this problem is. I think it is important to reveal to these children their true identities.
The truth is going to come out. In one case that was very dramatic, the child learned that she was a kidnapped victim when she heard the woman she believed to be her mother scream at the man she believed to be her father. First you murdered this brat's mother, and now you expect me to raise her. I had it, I don't want her anymore. The girl was 12.
Is it important that these children know the truth, do you think?
Yes, I think that is very important. And it's important that the children who were born in prison know the truth about her family. It's very, very important.
In some cases, children were adopted in good faith. Tatiana and Mara were adopted in 1978 by the Svilagoy family. The couple was on an official list for adoption and were called to a hospital one day to take the infant daughters. Both children were very ill, and one theory is that the abductors probably abandoned them. After the dirty war, the Svilagoys, concerned that the children may have been abducted, came forward. 2 grandparents were found, both of them quite old. All agreed the best possible life for the children was with their adoptive family. But even in the best cases, these children will bear a heavy burden all their lives. In some cases, they are taken from families who may or may not know the truth and sent to live with one old woman who may die while the child is still an adolescent. It's as if the children are victimized over and over again. Generation after generation, there's some kind of scar. The field hands, the people who dig up the bones with such care and precision, are all young graduate students who only a few years ago might themselves have been among the disappeared.
It's very difficult. Sometimes you just got to keep your tears down, or as Clyde says, crying should be left for the night. During daytime, you're scientists.
We didn't know what we were going to find. We didn't know how we were going to feel about that, if we could do that work or not. We were really afraid, really for different things, because of world democracy was just starting here. So we were afraid of being a mark, if you want to put it that way. And also...
And if the military came back, you would be...
Of course, we would be...
first on the list.
Well, at least on the list, for sure.
Have you been here when a relative has come in who wanted to see these bones?
Yeah, in many cases. In many cases. And it's very hard to deal with that.
When the bones of a young woman named Liliana Pereira were identified by Clyde Snow, her mother insisted on seeing the remains.
A rather unusual request, but she was so insistent about it. She had waited all those years that we arranged for her to be able to view the skeleton, and we laid them out on white sheets. She went in and she spent a few minutes and touching the bones. And it was a very important thing for her, because she finally had something of her daughter, Liliana, that she could say, you know, perhaps it is all over now, the waiting is over, and we can go on with our lives. We also, in Liliana's case, was able to determine that she had given birth to the child prior to her execution. So that also gave the grandmother hope. She'd that somewhere her grandchild is out there alive, and maybe someday they can locate her.
In the Plaza de Mayo, the mothers and grandmothers keep their weekly vigil. To many of their countrymen, it is taking on an antique quality, the relic of a time that many Argentinians would just as soon forget. But they will not let them. There are too many questions that remain unanswered. The names of all the murderers, the graves of all the disappeared, and the fate of the children. The children who did not disappear, but who are invisible. Major Bianco, the doctor who fled Argentina with 2 children, is still in Paraguay. But the latest from Buenos Aires is that his extradition back to Argentina, along with his wife and the 2 children, is imminent.
Volleyball, plus stairs, plus walking, plus aerobics, plus cycling, plus running, plus weights, plus tennis, equals cross-training. It's more aerobic than aerobics. Just do it.
To turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, you need to know how things should be. Fabergé, what an egg should be. Stradivarius, what a fiddle should be. And Lincoln, what a luxury car should be.
I've never been that much of a cereal eater, or even breakfast for that matter. But then I read 2 or 3 different articles about oat bran, and I thought to myself, why would you not eat this stuff?
Medical reports have shown oat bran can be important to your good health. Kellogg's Common Sense Oat Bran has more oat bran than any leading ready-to-eat cereal.
You know, I get up 15 minutes early just so I can do this.
New Common Sense Oat Bran, a sensible thing to do.
This is a phone. This is a finger. This is how easy it is for anyone to get 100% fiber optic long-distance calls that cost less than AT&T and sound better. Just call U.S. Sprint now and talk with the best.
Nothing, it seems, dies a harder death than a bumper sticker that no longer has anything to say that anyone cares about, especially Andy Rooney.
Yesterday morning, Saturday, I went to the hardware store down in the little town I live in, and as I pulled into park, I noticed that the bumper sticker on the Chevy Blazer next to me said Dukakis. I don't know why people leave old bumper stickers on their cars. You see everything. I'll tell you, if I had a car with a bumper sticker that said Dukakis on it, I'd get it off. And if I had trouble getting the sticker off, I'd sell the car. You can bet Lloyd Benson removed his bumper sticker. I like Michael Dukakis. I think he's bright and honest. But if I'd ever put his name on my bumper, and I never would have, of course, because I'm not a bumper sticker type, I'd take it off now. It's been 6 months since George Bush was elected president, and I want to be honest with you. George was elected without my help. Now I feel different about him. He's been a much better president than he was a candidate. He did some really tacky things to get elected.
Thank you very much.
Was that the same man who attended the memorial ceremonies for the 47 men killed on board the Iowa, and then talked to reporters about it with such compassion on the flight home?
One lady had a locket, showed us a picture of this kid. Another one had a picture that she wanted me to see of her boy, her husband, I think, in that case. I mean, Bush family's not very good at that kind of thing anyway. This was tough.
One of the things I like best about George Bush is how bad he often is on television.
Did I say September 7th? Sorry about that. December 7th, 1941.
All the world loves a bumbler, and any of us who can't remember dates like that. We're suspicious of politicians who are too good on television. George Bush is our president for at least 3.5 more years. We don't want a lot of sore losers out there. I call on all Americans to back our new president. Remove your Michael Dukakis bumper stickers. And that goes for your Gary Hart bumper stickers, too. And your Gephardt bumper stickers. And your Simon bumper stickers. Jack Kemp, DuPont, Robertson, Biden, Dole, Jackson, Gore. Your Bruce Babbitt bumper stickers. Your Al Haig bumper stickers.
And now the mail. The story we did a few weeks ago on courts where they let jurors ask questions brought a slew. There must have been some letters from viewers who thought it was a bad idea to let jurors ask questions, but search as we did, we couldn't find any. Only letters like this one from an attorney who said, 3 cheers for jury participation. To be impartial, a juror must have all his questions answered. Both the defense and the prosecution's only goal is to stack the jury. Another viewer wrote, there was a lot of twaddle in that piece, but no more than you usually get from lawyers. Adversarial trials are the last surviving relic of trial by combat. Questions from jurors can only improve the system. There was another lawyer who wrote, any attorney who is afraid of possible questions by jurors either has not prepared his case adequately or has incorrectly created a sense of his or her own intellectual superiority. And finally, on that subject, the viewer wrote about telling the truth. Maybe if the courts were to swear in attorneys as they do everyone else in the trial, the judicial system might work as it was intended to. Not on the subject of jurors asking questions, but on another legal matter, that of FBI agent Richard Miller, who confessed to giving secrets to a Russian spy and whose conviction, as we reported last week, has just been overturned. His attorney wrote, you characterized U.S. Attorney Robert Bonner as the one who successfully prosecuted Richard Miller. To be more accurate, Mr. Bonner should have been characterized as the one who unsuccessfully prosecuted Mr. Miller. As we said when we started the mail, we couldn't find a letter from anyone who was against jurors asking questions. Well, now we'd like to close with the thought that we couldn't find a viewer who isn't in love with George Burns and with our story about him that we repeated 2 weeks ago. But we did find someone who wrote us, I didn't like George Burns when he was 40, less when he was 50, 60, 70, even 80. A nonagenarian doesn't become funny simply because he's over 90 years old. He's not funny now, never was. Oh, come on, Mr. Rogers, you don't mean that. I'm Mike Wallace. We'll be back next week with another edition of 60 Minutes.
Life doesn't stand still for a headache, so when you can't take 5, take 3. Maximum strength Anacin 3, aspirin-free, sodium-free, caffeine-free. When you can't take 5, take 3. Maximum strength Anacin 3.
My wife, son, and I lived in Naples and came to appreciate the pasta sauce made there. Your Classico di Napoli tomato and basil captures the flavor perfectly. Classico di Napoli, authentic regional pasta sauce.
In a recent survey, Maytag owners told us they're more satisfied with their Maytag dishwasher than they were with the dishwasher they had before. Here is living testimony. Maytag, with its 54 high-velocity jets of water, has unsurpassed cleaning power to take the kind of grease and grime they dish out. At Maytag, we look forward to hearing from our owners. So would I. Maytag, the dependability people.
Introducing the Buick Park Avenue Ultra. Very few people will ever drive this much automobile.
Monday, when Lisa falls for Danny's cousin.
Oh, boy.
Will wedding bells chime?
Congratulations, okay?
Brian Bloom guest stars on Live In. Then, looking for love in all the wrong places?
Are you on the scroll? Doing it?
Doing what?
I have no idea.
Then check out a little comedy with a lot of muscle from America's Heartland, Monday.
It's intense, it's real, and it could save your life. Join host William Shatner for an all-new Rescue 911.
It's more of a miracle.
Tuesday at 8.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Olender.
Harrison Ford is a big city cop. Kelly McGillis is an Amish widow. An uncommon couple united against their common enemy in the Academy Award-winning Witness, the CBS Sunday movie, 1 hour from now. But first, Jessica takes you out to the ball game where murder steps up to bat. It's a Major League Murder, she wrote. Next.
Does that mean that there's something wrong with what we performed as physicians, what the nurses did, what the hospital did? Or could there be another variable?
There's a big difference between malpractice and malaccurrence. There are a lot of malaccurance cases that are won as if they're malpractice. And what I mean by that is that there's a bad outcome, and there'll be someone who'll get up and say that they would have done it differently. The assumption is, had you done it this other person's way, the outcome would have been good.
Here we have a case where we lost, and we still feel that we were right. How is the system guarded against malpractice in this case?
For a printed transcript of this or any edition of 60 Minutes, send $4 to Transcripts, 267 Broadway, New York, New York, 10007.